So, go ahead and tell us your name.
My name is Sepak Rekzin. I am Tibetan language instructor at Amuri and a resident scholar at this monastery, Tepung Losling Monastery.
Okay. Why do you believe in this religion?
Well, if this is a very personal question to me, I would say that I was born in a Buddhist family. So that means I was raised and brought up as a Buddhist. But over the years, as in the process of my growth and education, I learned more about Buddhism, studied it thoroughly, and that has really convinced me in why I am a Buddhist.
Okay.
More than I used to call myself a Buddhist before I learned anything or knew anything about Buddhism. Now I can say I'm a Buddhist, but I'm a Buddhist in a very open manner.
Okay.
And to me today, Buddhism is not my religion. I don't like to call it religion, because especially 21st century modern people, historians, in the name of religion we have done so many mistakes. People don't like this word. I would like to call this a way of life rather than a religion.
So what do you believe about this, I won't say religion, I'll say way of life.
Yeah.
Instead. It's like, why do you, what have you learned from this way of life yourself?
Number one, humility. The more you learn, you become learned and intellectual, the more higher ranks that you obtain, you gain, you achieve. My way of life, this Buddhism has taught me, the more simpler you have to be. It has taught me humility. It has taught me that me as an individual, is insignificant compared to innumerable, infinite beings. You are just one. But if you follow the constructive way of life, because we can follow two directions, constructive or destructive. So if you follow the constructive way and follow the teachings, make it very open, then there is a chance that you do good in your life. You help others. If not, at least you don't harm others. And as an individual, that way, you can make a difference. As an individual alone, you can make a great, great difference.
Okay. Great.
So maybe you could tell us a little bit about the basics of this way of life.
Yes, this Buddhism, the very basics are, I would say like at least, there are many principles, but I would say at least like 2-3 principles that it is based on. Number one, there is no belief in so-called a creator and higher authority. No. It is based on the assumption, number one, out of many, that we as an individual are ourselves the creator as well as the destroyer of our destiny. There's no one responsible. Yet, the conditions are always there. Others can be good conditioning, good facilities. You may be very intellectual, you may be very clever, smart, but you need facilities. Financial strength, support from your friends, relatives, institution, government, everything, right? So, but you have to act mainly. Only then you can enjoy the facilities. So, we believe in the law of karma. It's called karma, means law of causality, cause and effect. You are the one who shapes your destiny. You are the one who may destroy your destiny. That's one thing. Secondly, we believe that there is rebirth after this. This is just a small, tiny lifetime in a very, 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 very many, countless lifetimes journey to become a Buddha. That's second. Those life after birth, before and after. We believe in that. Third, we believe that all human beings, everybody, not only human beings, but every sentient beings, means sentient beings, those who have a thought, those who are thinking, those who have consciousness or perception. We believe and assume that every one of us carry what we call Buddha seed, the seed of Buddha. That means we are all equally capable of becoming Buddha ourselves. In Christianity, you would say like, I would better say like, God is within, God is not outside. So you have the potential to become good, So that good can reach a maximum level, and that is Buddhahood. So then the question is, why do you worship Buddha and other gods? They are our role models. A good professor is your role model. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
A good professor can change your life just in one instant of talk. One lecture is enough. Right? So they are our role models. They have already gone through this and they have shown the teaching. Even Buddha himself, the legendary Buddha, this Buddha of this lifetime, our time, Buddha Shakyamuni, who gave up everything. He was a prince. Did you know that? He was a prince.
I didn't know.
No, he was a prince, king of a royal king in Nepal, present in Nepal, and he gave up everything. He had everything, but he got everything, and he searched for the truth. He tried many ways, many techniques of meditation. Finally, he found the truth, and the truth is not something he concocted. He said it was there in the nature. After all, we need to be balanced. We are so imbalanced in our life. Every emotion, everything, every thought, every action. So when we are balanced, we are on the right track. But when we become imbalanced, even our health loses. So that's why these are three, I would say, out of many, three main assumptions upon which I believe and upon which I walk. I try to do.
Okay, that's the recording is on.
All right.
Oh, excuse me. Take one.
All right, so this is just after the worship service or the meditation, and we're all going to give our thoughts on what we thought about the meditation and the religion. So who wants to start us off?
I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole entire session, or the religious service that we went to, was about compassion meditation. And I found it really interesting because when we were talking to, how do you say it? I can't say his name. What's his name? When we were talking to, Sapak earlier, he was telling us how compassion was one of the bases for the religion and how important it was. And when we were sat there, the monk, he was able to describe what was important about compassion and how we should be compassionate for about 30 minutes, and then we were able to sit and meditate, and it was really difficult. It was very difficult to sit there and focus, and it gave me a new respect for those who can sit there and think about what's really important and meditate for 20 minutes. It seems like a short time, but it's really not. So I thought that
when
was...
you're doing nothing but meditating,
Yeah.
it seems longer.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
Focusing part is really hard.
I thought it was interesting, my experience with meditating was mostly silence and emptying your mind, but he was actually giving directions on think about your enemies, think about when you've been angry, think about, how to kind of inverse your positive and negative feelings. I thought that was really helpful. Oh, okay, that's a big leg up.
And I think also to those who were new to this experience, he gave some direction, some area of thought. He gave everyday life situations that we all probably go through in different phases or
When you're
different
driving.
times of driving, or something like that we could focus on and rid the negative and to bring in the positive.
I thought it was especially interesting when he was talking about relationships, and he goes, we sit there and we stress and we worry about getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but then when we have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, we sit there and stress and worry about having the boyfriend and the girlfriend. And I thought it was so interesting because it's so true.
Right.
How we sit there and we worry about everything, and then
Having a job, not having a job.
and then when we
You
worry
get the
when we have
job.
it.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's interesting how they don't focus on any kind of particular deity or god or anything. It's all about finding peace and inner balance with your surroundings and attaining that pinnacle balance.
Yeah, that balance between if you're too high, you have to come down, and then if you're really low or sad or depressed, you have to try and pick yourself up and
Try to maintain that middle ground.
yeah.
I thought it was interesting, to your point, he said something, whether you're a believer or non-believer, and I don't know exactly what he was referencing. He was like, it doesn't matter, you know, that you have negative experiences and you have positive experiences, and, you know, anger and hatred is obviously bad, and peace and balance is obviously good. And it's like you don't have to subscribe to a certain dogma to realize that. And I was like, oh, that's very simple, you know?
I thought, especially when we were doing the interview, how he said that, you know, I don't see it as a religion, I see it more as a way of life. And I feel like that's the perfect way to describe what you're talking about, because it really is more so of a way of life and a way of thinking than it is of, you know, religion of worshiping and stuff like that.
And another thing that I found interesting in the interview was how he said that it's against pretty much the law of Buddhism to try and convert people. How, like, when you see Christianity, like, you see missionaries go over to other...
Evangelize.
Yeah. Go over to other countries and try to convert people to other religions, when Buddhists seems like they just want to try and show people that this is there and how they can live their life, and if they do accept it, then that's great for them. If they don't, that's great for them as well.
Yeah. I don't know, I just really think how, I don't know, the philosophical view they have on things, instead of like a scriptural, almost, you know what I'm saying? It's less of a code and more of a mindset. And I thought that was really, I don't know.
It seems kind of like they're encouraged to go and find like the word for themselves, like
It
their own
is,
scripture.
yeah.
Because upstairs he said that they didn't have like a holy text.
Right.
They had all those books and that were, I guess you could say they were
like
holy
summaries,
texts.
I guess.
Yeah, but they weren't like
They were
strict.
compilations of a bunch of different stuff, though.
Yeah. It wasn't like a strict holy text, like this, you have to follow this.
Right.
Did he say Tibetan Buddhism follows like the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path and all that? Did he mention that?
I'm not sure. He was talking earlier on in the interview about some of the key focuses or something like that.
He said the first one was compassion, I believe, right? The first one was compassion? And then
Yeah.
the second one was rebirth. And then the third one was, what was it?
I don't remember.
I
the
can't
first
quite
one.
remember.
Greg.
Um,
It was rebirth, compassion, and what was the last one?
I can't think of the last one because I just read something on my phone that I'm trying to get the information to us. But what I want to do right now, I want to put this on pause and
Edit this out.
yeah. Hold on a minute.
It's a bet.
So, tell us about their religious texts.
So, what I found interesting was they didn't really have a set religious text, like we have the Bible, and Jews have the Torah and all that other stuff. They had a big library of just summaries of a lot of Buddhist teachings and different things that you learn while you're going through your path of life. It's just really interesting that it wasn't you followed a set religious text, you learned what you needed to learn and learned everything and followed it to the best of your ability. Okay. So how would you equate salvation to Buddhism?
Well, as you attain Buddha, then your presence eventually diffuses over all the universe. So I believe Buddha is everything, is in everything, and once you attain Buddha, you become essentially the same.
So what was really interesting to you about the worship space?
I was kind of intrigued by the dichotomy between the message of Buddhism and Buddha himself being an ascetic in history and kind of minimizing himself and diminishing himself by leaving the palace and his kind of life story about leaving his royal family and becoming a beggar, and the way that we kind of have to play by life's context and game of, temple has to pay light bills, there has to be estate sales for building funds, and kind of the fine line between living in the world and religion losing its essence or its divine nature, I guess. And some people would be critical of, especially I think in a Buddhist context, like, oh, this is so ornate or that's so fancy, or who pays for that? But the motivation they have to, I guess, show sincerity or propriety by providing nice things for those reasons. I wonder how they can kind of walk that line, because it is a slippery slope. So I thought that was interesting, and would like to investigate more about that.
So what did you think about the service itself?
The service itself, I enjoyed. I found that it was similar to some of the other worship services that I had been a part of, with the exception of the meditation. The teacher himself, he gave examples of everyday living, and he used that in a way to get his message across to those who were more enlightened, those who were not. With the exception of the meditation itself, that's something that I had to get used to because I was unknowledgeable of it. However, overall, I thought the service was excellent.